I'm Enoch, this is XDA Developer TV, and you don't know it, but you don't never mind. A little over a week ago, Jean-Baptiste Quiroux announced a new experiment in the Android open source project to support the Xperia S as a Nexus device. It's great news, and I hope that the experiment expands to include more and more great devices out there. And being as great of news as it is, it would be stupid to ask why. It's like on a bus. Some hot chick walks up to you and asks to sit next to you. You don't ask why, she'll walk away. You just go with it. Well, I'm about as stupid as I am bad at grasping opportunities to meet women. So, Google. Why? Now, JBQ went through explaining that this is just another challenge for the Android open source project, but, well, I don't think he's a liar. I just think there's more to the story. Google made buckshot money at a whole bunch of different projects and startups, but they're always aiming at something. There's always a reason to pull the trigger. Plus, when has Google been one to embrace the dev community? Oh, they love app developers, and they don't mind borrowing ideas from CyanogenMod. But this really benefits ROM developers. And JBQ is actively seeking help from the community to get the fork rolling with open source drivers and whatnot. I mean, think about it. Android is licensed with the Apache license. That's so companies can take it and make it proprietary software. Google is all about enabling companies here. And Android is already on the Xperia S. I mean, what benefit is there to a company of putting it on that device again? Well, I have a few ideas. First, there's the simple fact that this makes open source alternatives for drivers available. A lack of decent open source drivers has always plagued Linux. I mean, network and graphics drivers are the bleeding anus of Linux. On top of that, these alternative drivers will be covered under the Apache license, so companies can come along and make proprietary software based on them. More options at the start means more reasons OEMs have to use Android, and that ultimately lowers the cost of devices by limiting the number of licenses you need. But for now, that means you have to build an internal replica of the Xperia S. But eventually, hopefully, more devices will be supported. And speaking of licenses, with an even broader open source base, it will be harder and harder for competitors to sue OEMs for patent infringement, even if they do infringe. Google successfully made that argument against Oracle. Open source software that infringes a little bit on proprietary software is fair use, according to that trial. And while Android becomes proprietary as it's used by OEMs in devices, those OEMs are able to say that they have a valid license to use that software from Google, which forces competitors to attack Google directly. So far, they haven't done that, and that may open the doors for Google to come in to the defense of some of those OEMs, which they weren't allowed to do with HTC so far. Now, it won't help with more peripheral infringements, like if a company decides to use, bounce scroll or rounded rectangles, but it will work to keep the heat off of Android itself. At least that's what I think. So here's another question. Should developers feel used? No, I don't think so. This is mutually beneficial. And it feels good to play a more direct role in this thing that we all love so much. So again, I'm Enoch, and this is XDA Developer TV. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a bus to catch.